Over the past 5 years, Turkey has completed several mega projects after having invested tens of billions of dollars. What impact will those infrastructure projects have in the long term? And what plans are in the works to better connect the country to the region and wider world? I'll break it all down here on Straight Talk. Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. Over the past 5 years, at a cost of tens of billions of dollars, Türkiye has seen a string of mega projects come to completion. From one of the largest airports in the world to a bridge linking Europe and Asia, these infrastructure projects aim to make Türkiye a key hub for everything from transport to energy and tourism. A new finance center in Istanbul is also looking to become a potential competitor to cities like Dubai and London. Where will the country find itself in the next 5 years, and what other projects are in the pipeline? Let's take a look at this report. And to further discuss Türkiye's infrastructure investments over the last several years, joining me now from Istanbul is Mehmet Celik. He is the editorial coordinator at Daily Sabah. And Tarik Oguzlu is a professor at Istanbul Aydin University. Also from Izmir, Türkiye, Klaus Jurgens is a political analyst. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Mehmet, let me begin with you. What impact have these mega projects had on Türkiye's infrastructure so far?
Well, as you know, these infrastructure projects have been impacting Turkey's geopolitical and as well as geoeconomic position in the wider region. Not that they only have created jobs and affected domestic economic dynamics, but also they have placed Turkey in a very dynamic position regionally and also internationally too. That interconnectivity, the multimodal transportation position of Turkey has placed it in a very strategic position between Asia and Europe. And this, traditionally Turkey has always been in that strategic position between East and the West, but that connectivity will be established with these mega projects for the infrastructure between Asia and Europe. I mean, just not that it will only put a strategic significance on Turkey, but also globally, it enables faster, speedier, as well as cheaper transportation of goods between Asia continent, namely the major partner is China there, and the continent Europe. But in the route, many will be benefiting from this interconnectivity. So Turkey will be definitely one of these significantly benefiting countries from this integration of different projects in different legs of this interconnectivity between Asia and Europe.
Yes, so we'll talk more on this interconnectivity. But Tarik, how have these projects changed Turkey's investment environment over the past few years? I mean, did they have direct effect on the development of this sector?
Actually, this is not an easy question to answer at this particular moment. But let me begin by saying that if you put so much money on such kind of construction businesses, infrastructure businesses, the assumption that you will be attracting foreign direct investment after a while. Mm-hmm. And it seems that Turkey have not that much succeeded in getting international foreign direct investment just because of the fact that Turkey has put into ground these particularly important projects. But we also know that nowadays just we are somehow in the middle of a kind of a geopolitical confrontation between the two heavyweights in global politics, US and China on the one hand, and maybe Europe and China also on the other hand. The Turkish geographical location, real estate value, and the fact that we have developed so much sophisticated infrastructural capacity might play a role in this ongoing Cold War era confrontation. So if the Western actors are somehow keen and serious to have to lessen their dependence on China or other non-Western countries, Turkey seems to be at a very ideal position in this particular sense. And this much sophistication very much will improve in one way or another the credibility of Turkey's relations with Western actors in the days to come. But other than that, I am in a position to say that this capacity of building this sophisticated infrastructure has the potential to attract foreign direct investment in the years to come. We have to wait and see for that to happen.
So speaking of competition, Klaus, we know that a new finance center in Istanbul was set up. So what are the chances that it becomes a competitor to cities like Dubai and London? What are the challenges?
Well, the challenges are huge, but I think there is a huge chance it will actually compete. May I just take this opportunity half a minute? When I grew up in the 80s, infrastructure investment was part of geography classes. Then 20 years later, it became part of economics. Now it's even in politics. And Turkey is setting the trend because infrastructure is not only about physical investments anymore. Turkey shows it is benefiting the common good. As the Germans always say, Gemeinwohl, the interest into society. It is for the people. Now, having a financial center in Istanbul competing with other financial centers you mentioned is a huge opportunity not only to create trust in foreign investors, but in general to create a feeling of this is the country which is going forward. This is a country which continues on the reform and modernization process. And now the world is acknowledging this. I think it is a huge step in the right direction and it can actually work. I think we will come back to a number of issues. If I have time later, talk about the new airport and Turkish Airlines and a number of issues. But absolutely agree. I think it will literally work to establish Turkey and Istanbul as a mega financial hub.
So, Mehmet, one of the major projects that the Turkish government has touted that has already started to show some returns is the Istanbul airport. So how has it contributed to Turkey's connectivity and its goals to become a major regional air hub?
You see, just to build on Klaus's points before, I can answer this question, is that Turkey has a new geopolitical power, as it has that middle power status in the international arena. So meeting that power is important when it comes to infrastructure. I think all these mega projects will be supporting, will be strengthening this position and also leveraging it to a higher position somewhere between middle and also in the all the bigger players. So that all these infrastructure projects are actually supporting that new role of Turkey, which the West needs to acknowledge and understand to be able to use Turkey's position as a leverage for its own interest. And now when it comes to the airport, this is a huge part of that, the international airport. It is definitely becoming a huge transportation hub, not just for civil aviation in terms of passenger traffic, but also for cargo shipment as well. So that, more than 2 million, I believe, already passengers have already traveled through Turkey. So this is a huge, a huge number for Turkey as being a bridge between, the continent Europe or North America as to the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. So that connectivity is not just important in terms of travel, in terms of passenger traffic, in terms of tourism, but at the same time, it is important for cargo and other logistical aspects as well.
So, Tarik, Turkey's infrastructure projects, as Mehmet briefly mentioned, also have a broader long-term goal of connecting to its immediate region and further afield. How has that gone so far, you think?
I think that's a very critical issue we have to address. But before I do that, let me tell you something. In today's international environment, the key word seems to have become connectography. To what extent you are connected to other global centers of supply. Mm-hmm. So if you are holding a very critical position in this global supply chains, you mean something in the context of international politics. Mm-hmm. So thank God that Turkey seems to be located at a very important geographical location. Turkey's real estate value is quite important. And we also know that Turkey is a trading state. So it is very much in Turkey's national interest to put so much investment in such kind of infrastructural process, because this will put Turkey at the center of such global supply chains. So that's why I very much underline the importance of the projects which have been completed in recent years. So the Istanbul airport is one of them, the bridges, high-speed trains, tunnels, motorways, autobahns. Okay, these are all important things. Mm-hmm. And this will also indirectly contribute to Turkey's capacity to play a kind of middle power role, as Mehmet has already underlined, and indirectly contribute to international peace and stability in our neighborhood.
So, Klaus, do you think Turkey's infrastructure projects go hand in hand with its multilateral transportation projects? Do you think they complement one another?
I actually think, now, first of all, I think there is a domestic dimension. I just took the liberty and pleasure to go on location here. I went across the new bridge, across the Yalova Strait, came down, Yalova Bay, came down to Izmir, and further on just to see how the travel time has been reduced. The citizens actually appreciate that you cut off enormous hours of travel time between cities, high-speed trains, rails, roads, bridges, tunnels you have. This is the domestic dimension, but much or as important is the international dimension, as you mentioned. Now, there are projects for within Turkey, but there are cross-border projects too. And multilateral transportation, consider the Middle Corridor and the Belt and Road Initiative. Mm-hmm. You have a huge opportunity to, because the northern option, the southern option is probably gone of these initially Chinese initiative. Now, Turkey would be at the center, the hub of bridging Asia and Europe for transportation, logistics, food, and one-day energy. And this needs cross-border strategic partnerships. And I think Turkey has set a very good example how to actually not only invest domestically, but attract investment to even go further afar. And the latest trend is third country investments in strategic partnerships with a foreign partner, a Turkey partner, and another partner in a third country. Yes. It is amazing what is going on.
So, Mehmet, could you talk to us about the importance of the Middle Corridor, which runs through the Caspian region, through the South Caucasus, and into Anatolia? I mean, has this corridor contributed to the region's interconnectivity and food as well as energy security? What's the shape of it?
Well, not that this is going to be, we talked about bridging between East and the West and Asia and Europe, but also I think it is important to highlight that this will also be very important. This route itself, and also being integrated part of the One Belt, One Road, it will contribute to, for example, places like Afghanistan when they are landlocked. This will also contribute to their integration into this regional and international interconnectivity. But also for places like Northern Africa and the Middle East, this is also important, where Turkey can, through this intermodal connectivity and transportation, not will it only use land, but it can also utilize its ports and railways to spread around this interconnectivity. Technically speaking, this will reduce time in terms of traveling time. This will reduce, there is a favorable more climate, but it would also mean that there will be nearly 2,000 kilometers less in terms of transportation, that transportation route that uses the sea, for example. So all these aspects make Türkiye and this all interconnectivity so significant that it actually integrates each country that is on the route into a wider geo-economic integration. So it also contributes to their economic stability and prosperity. So this is important for that sense as well. It is not just going to be something that contributes to one country or two countries, but it's a regional. I think there is a regional dimension to this. And the second thing that I want to highlight is that many now, in the post-pandemic world, this supply chain is so important that connectivity should be uninterrupted, and that should be secured in a way. And I think the fact that many in Europe, for example, they're looking for producer closer to home or closer to continent Europe. In that sense, Turkey will also be a very significant player when it comes to being a supplier for the European continent.
So, Tarik, how has the Karabakh War, which ended with Azerbaijan's victory, presented an opportunity for regional countries to better connect? And could Armenia maybe one day become part of these projects? What are the challenges? How do you read the region? I know it's a tough question, but I trust in you.
So I can respond to this question only with one word, hopefully and inshallah, because Armenia is a country in the Caucasian region, and it has been on good terms in recent days, not only with Turkey but also Azerbaijan as well. So hopefully sometime in future, this Nagorno-Karabakh conflict will be solved once and for good, once and for all. So Armenia will also join this Trans-Caucasian rail and road infrastructure and becoming a part of this Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railroad project. Or there is another aspect of this Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, as we all know that the southern frontiers of Armenia, the Lachin corridor, it comes to the picture in this particular context in a quite important way, because that seems to offer another opportunity for Turkey to reach out to Azerbaijan, and through Azerbaijan to Central Asian republics, and then to China in Far East Asia. So Azerbaijan becoming a part of this road infrastructure business will certainly contribute to the atmosphere of regional peace and stability in the region. Not only will Turkey come much closer to East Asia, and also East Asian countries coming much closer to Europe through the Caucasian region. So all countries of the region will benefit from this in a mutual way. So this is a plus for regional peace and stability, without any question.
Klaus, would you agree? I mean, how would a fully developed middle corridor and similar ones impact the economies of Central Asian nations? I mean, how would it contribute to their connectivity with Europe as well as China?
Absolutely. Now, I think Turkey should literally be in the middle corridor, the middle hub. I studied a number of train connections and lorry times and the alternatives going via seas, thousands of kilometers to the south. The middle corridor seems to be the only viable alternative. It was, according to me, even before the Ukraine war situation broke out, because you have Asia, you go via Kazakhstan, you still have China in the mix, but then you come via Turkey to Europe, and you make sure that Turkey is considered as, which it is of course, a trustworthy, successful, logical hub for transport, energy, and what have you. Now, I would go even one step further. You remember our discussion, of course, we had in, and I never forget what I saw there, but this is not the topic today. Now, when I mentioned regional cooperation could be recalibrated, not only with the middle corridor, but perhaps even think about energy in the Eastern Mediterranean.
Sure.
Think about talking to Libya one day, talking to Egypt, talking, of course, to Greece, having Turkey active as a geopolitical actor here with new paradigms. I think we have the middle corridor, but then we might have the entire Eastern Mediterranean as well.
So you say these projects and new links can be considered as part of Turkey's efforts to normalize its relations with its neighbors and maybe the wider region like Eastern Mediterranean. And how do you think it will play out?
Absolutely. Now we had the Istanbul Security Forum took place a few days ago. Yes, and indeed, I was asked, do you want to set up a small United Nations? I said, I'm an analyst, not a politician. Now I said, no, not setting up a new small United Nations, but regional cooperation in the post-pandemic world perhaps is ever more important, that neighbors appreciate being neighbors and think about what can best be done for our society, for energy resourcing, energy sales, peace and stability. And I think the Eastern Med could be one such project. Of course, the middle corridor is another one. But in general, Turkey's 360 degrees foreign policy is going on, and it will go on. And all these topics my esteemed colleagues and you mentioned are, I think, part of it. Infrastructure makes day-to-day life better, and it makes international relations perhaps more prosperous.
So, Mehmet, Turkey is set to become a key player in China's Belt and Road Initiative. How do you think this initiative will play out when rendered fully operational? What are the challenges? Because we know that the United States and some European countries are against such giant project.
Well, yes, they are, and then I think that's why there were a lot of skepticism being raised with regards to, let's say, the new airport in Istanbul. But Türkiye is surely establishing its foreign policy on diversification of partners, and I think in the new multipolar world where we have now China and Russia, India, and the United States and Europe, I think putting all eggs in one basket would be definitely a mistake for Türkiye, and that making sure that you are diversifying partners, it is something that's going to face challenges from Türkiye's traditional partners. But if there is going to be an Asia a new policy, or North or Africa, Horn of Africa foreign policy, or making sure that you are maintaining your interest or keeping your position in the Northern Africa and East Med, you have to make sure that you diversify and have pragmatic relations with the other actors around the world. And this includes also, Caucasus, South Caucasus, and Asia. And this is, if Turkey wants to become that powerful player in the region and the wider world that we're talking about, I think it needs to maintain this position rather than just having remaining on the axis of the West, despite its interests elsewhere. So this stand on your own foot. This firm position will surely face challenges from Turkey's traditional partners, and it already has.
Yes. So, Tarik, are these projects which Turkey is involved in feasible? For example, how are efforts to revive the new Silk Road going?
Of course, they are feasible. They have a state logic behind all these projects. They have a strong commitment on the part of the rulers of this country given to these projects. So they are extremely feasible without any hesitation. And we also know that there are many volunteering investors abroad who could easily come and invest their money in such kind of projects. But we should not forget the fact that for such kind of mega infrastructural projects to yield positive results, we need to have not only internal stability, but also regional and external stability. At a time of emerging great power confrontation, at a time of rising regional security competition in our neighborhood, the possibility of getting extreme benefits from such kind of projects might decrease significantly. So stability and predictability, certainty are very much important for such kind of projects to bring into existence positive results. We have to invest, first of all, to find solutions to regional problems, to give the image to outside community that you should come and invest your money in such project because we have stability.
All right, gentlemen. All right, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk. And that's all for this edition of Straight Talk with me, Ayşe Süberker. If you've got any comments, follow us and tweet us at Straight Talk GRT. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, take care and goodbye.